I, Hi, by the way. I was just going to get straight into things, guys. Are we okay out there? Because I like to think that I'm pretty in tune with the energies, right? That's why I have this podcast. Half of the reason why I have this podcast. The vibe, what's the vibe for holes? I have not been okay. Are you guys okay? I feel like this is a collective thing. I've seen it in other people who are very energetically tucked in, like sharing what the heck was last week. The energies feel really erratic. Obviously, collectively, there's a lot of stuff happening, but in our micro worlds as well. And to be honest, the reason that the podcast is only coming out now when usually it comes out on Monday is I could not bring myself to record on the weekend and even yesterday for a number of reasons, emotional reasons, fatigue reasons. Like my body is, I have not felt like this in my body in so long. Like the inflammation is high, and so much stuff happened in my micro world last week that was pushing on wounds and trauma and like PTSD responses and like intensity on intensity. And I know part of it is like we are in this final week of the year of the snake. We're moving into the year of the horse. So I really feel like we are being called to, like, we're being worked to shed, to shed, to shed, and then some. But the pressure this is putting on our physical bodies and our emotional bodies, I guess this week's ep, I'm going to talk about last week, which feels like a year. But I'm also going to mix in what's the vibe. It's going to be kind of two combined because, it is Tuesday. So let's just do it in one fell swoop, shall we? And there is a level of, or there was a level of like, oh, I need to push through. I need to persevere because, I make a promise to my listeners that I'm going to be in their ears every Monday. And, I shouldn't let the ball drop. I shouldn't disappear. But that's all my Virgo shadow talking. And to be honest, the reason that I work for myself is because I don't want to have to answer to anyone. She has an Aries MC. Like, I want to be able to pick and choose what I do and when I do it. And for the most part, I know I'm pretty thorough when it comes to follow through. But I just, the one of the reasons I work for myself is to go, hang on a second, I am not functioning optimally right now. And I cannot bring myself to carve out the space to talk. Even right now, it's hard. Like I feel inflamed, I feel puffy, I feel emotional, I feel sore, I have a lingering headache. And for the most part, it feels energetic, albeit physical. And I've had a big week last week, but you can see it if you're watching the YouTube, like the bags. I have makeup on. The bags under my eye, they're not Prada. They are Maltese tired girl. I'm so tired. And it's not for lack of sleep. I haven't been having screen time at night. I've been reading. I've read 2 books in like 5 days because I can't really bring myself to do much else other than mother. But I guess the reflection before I dive into the specifics of the last week is this is the vibe check. I do feel this is going to continue not just as we enter the year of the horse, but Saturn moving into Aries. We had the Leo full moon last week. There's been a lot cosmically happening and will continue for this month, even when Neptune and Saturn become conjunct, like they haven't been conjunct in forever, as in like hundreds of years. So if you're an energetically sensitive soul, which of course you are because you listen to a show like this and you watch a show like this, then I dare I say you're feeling this to some degree as well. Anyone who's like cosmically tapped in to even a tiny degree right now would be feeling this right now. And it feels, and I know I've been channeling this in the What's the Vibes the last couple of weeks, but this intensity is on another level. Like, yes, the overwhelm, yes, the inflammation, but it feels like this pressure and intensity. And I do think the phrase that has kept coming to me this morning is we are really energetically porous right now. It's this porousness where our bodies are the vehicle for us to have this spiritual experience on earth, right? Our bodies are the vehicle, they are the vessel, and they are working overtime right now to neutralize and kind of alchemize all of this collective intensity. And this is even if you have really solid boundaries around consumption and what you do and do not expose yourself to from the external internally. It just feels like we are all such sponges right now. And this porous energy is Like our bodies can't help it. They can't help but absorb it. And dare I say, intuitively, I do feel like it's not going to shift until we get to March. Like I do feel like to a degree, this intensity is going to continue. And the best thing we can do is firstly, I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling such a call to hibernate, which goes against everything I've got next week. Like next week is a huge week in my life, which I talk about separately, but like hibernate and be with our bodies. And I know I said last week, it's about your body and showing up for yourself and your families and your homes. And that's a continuation. Like, yes, but our physical bodies are really going overtime right now to process, alchemize, alchemize, alchemize. I'm like, I've got swollen glands in my armpits. Like even my little girl, she's such an energetically in tune, like pure little being. Like she's been getting runny noses and just it Trent's had sleep interferences and Pisces and all those placements. Like it just feels like collectively we are all being impacted by the intensity of energy right now. And the best thing we can do is recognize that we are extra sensitive, we are energetically porous. So bring our energy in as best we can, say no to as many things as we can, hibernate as best we can, tend to our homes, and that includes our physical home, which is our body. Oh, but guys, if you're feeling it, I am in it too. Like this lingering headache. And last week I cried every single day. And when I say I cried every single day, I'm talking like guttural sobs. I'm talking like couldn't catch my breath every day, every single day, Monday to Sunday. And then like when I reflect on the week to you all, you'll be like, like individually, the experiences that I had last week by themselves weren't intense, but it was like this cumulative thing that by Sunday, I was broken. I was like, I don't know how much more of this I can take. So I definitely am much better than I was last week, I will say. Like last week for me was one of the hardest mental, emotional weeks I've had. Oh, I don't remember how long. Like I just was not okay last week. I am much better this week. It's more my physical body this week than my emotional body. My emotional body last week was just not fucking okay. So I'm going to explain what was happening in my micro world. Going to give you guys a little life recap before I do. I'm going to take a sip of water. So give me a sec. Actually, show and tell time first. Check out this Venus. It's my purple smoothie that I'm drinking. Reject Shop is having they have a whimsical collection. I don't know if it's still out. I saw two broke chicks did a reel on it and I was like, say less. And I went out last week and I bought I never go to the Reject Shop, but we actually have one. Like my small town that has no shops, there's a Reject Shop close by. And so I went and bought everything. I have Goddess Venus smoothie cup, which I'm showing on the YouTube right now. I have Goddess Venus mug. I have Goddess Venus soap dish. I have things on my altar. I've got a chopping board. I'll put the whole video in the Soulies chat so you can see I cleaned up. Anyway, that was definitely a highlight of last week. But last week actually started with, if you remember last episode, I said that last Monday was going to be a big day for me and my little girl because she was going to start push kindy. That didn't happen. So actually it all started 2 Sundays ago, not 2 nights ago. Oh my God, guys, I'm sorry. You're going to have to just strap yourselves in for this app because she can't even speak. If I tried to do this 2 days ago, it would have been worse, if you can even believe that. So we had my little girl so excited for starting bush kindy on the Monday just gone last week. And we went out and bought all of her things. You remember I was saying it's a big day for us. I was preparing myself for it. She was obviously prepared, very excited. We were doing sleep countdowns, one more sleep, one more sleep. And I had spent the Sunday out with Cass. A group of us went out, and not a group of us, a couple of us went out and sat ceremony with her in her postpartum zone. I don't like using the word bubble, even though it is a bubble, but it's not necessarily a bliss bubble. But anyway, we went and sat cacao and we were there for a couple of hours. And as I got in the car, I was added to the Bush Kindy WhatsApp group. Welcome, Holly, and insert little girl's name here, to our Bush Kindy. We're so excited to see you and can't wait to welcome you to the group. And I was like, that's nice, even though I'd only gotten added to it the afternoon before the kindy started. And I was a little bit like, all the Virgo guys, give me an update at least a few days before we start. Like, what's this afternoon before business? Anyway, I replied, Hey guys, we're so excited. We'll see you tomorrow. And then I get a private message from one of the, I don't know what you'd call them, bush kindy teacher. Anyway, hi Holly. We're not sure you've been updated that we've actually changed our day to Friday. Hopefully this doesn't throw your rhythm out and we'll see you then. Like so nonchalantly, so like it ain't no big thing. Guys, the one day we can't do is Friday. That's my work day. That's the day she has swimming. As I said in last week's ep, she was starting to do swimming without us in the pool. Like the teacher that she's been with for years created this special class for her on a Friday. Like the one day we could do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We cannot do Friday. So I got that message and I was like, what? What? I enrolled for a Monday class. Like there's no, we can't do Friday. And so I replied straight away. I said, oh no, we would never made aware of this. Can she come to a different class that's on a Monday? No reply. I did not get a reply. I still haven't got a reply. This spiraled me. This set the tone for my week. So I got home on Sunday, last Sunday, so a week ago. I keep trying to make that clear because there's a whole week of things that have happened from this point. And I sobbed the entire drive home from Cass's, grappling in my head how I was going to break it to my little girl that we would not be starting school the next day and that all of the things that we bought for her we would not be using. Oh, my heart. You can hear it. Like I've cried a lot of tears, and they're still there. My heart was broken, and I was furious. And this is like I feel like it's a fire sign mum thing, like a Leo mum, an Aries mum, maybe a Sag mum as well. Yeah, definitely a Sag mum. Like it's fierce. It's like don't fuck with my kid. Like, and I had so much anger come to the surface, so much emotion, and got home and had a big cry to Trent. And Trent was also like, Trent rarely, I was going to say, Trent rarely shows emotion. He's all earth, but he was livid. And he's like, leave it with me, Hol. I would call them. This isn't okay. And I sat her down and I said, baby girl, sometimes plans change and they're out of our control. And I'm so sorry, but we won't be going to kindy tomorrow. They've changed the day and we can't make the day because that's when you have swimming. And she was, look, she understood. She's a pretty chill kid. And it's not like she knew what she was missing, you know? So she was kind of like, oh, okay, so am I not going to school? I'm like, no, I'm sorry, sweetheart. But for me, I could not stop. It was like a wound had been pressed. And I was like, what is underneath this? Why am I being so affected by this? Obviously, it doesn't feel fair. It doesn't feel right. I just want her to, I want to do what's best for my little girl. And I know what's best for her now is like being out in the world, being socialized, like having these experiences before she starts school next year. And I was sitting with, well, what's underneath this emotion? And you guys know I constantly ask myself the 5 whys. If you've read my first book, you'll know how to do that exercise. And actually, what came up for me, it was very apparent that I was harnessing feelings of guilt and like it was all my fault, even though it wasn't, like not even slightly. I'd done everything right. And I just felt like I'd let her down. And I was like, God, this is crazy, Holly. Like, this is not, you are not responsible for this. This is completely out of your control. And in fact, how great that I was able to see that this is not a facilitator or a teacher or a group that I want to have as my daughter's first experience with schooling, because eventually I was going to build up trust enough to leave her with them and do a full day with them. That was what I was planning for next term. And so I know I've dodged a bullet and I trust in divine guidance. I know that that was ripped away at the last minute to go, Holly, you are not taking your little girl to that space. And this was on the eve of the Leo full moon as well. And this is why I love astrology. I love it so much because I could pull up her chart and go, where is the Leo moon hitting? And it was hitting her 11th house of friendship and community. And so what this Leo full moon illuminated, she doesn't have any planets in Leo. So when you guys look at your chart and go, well, I don't have any planets in Leo, so it's not affecting me. Oh, it absolutely still does. This is where you want to look at the house. house that the sign falls in. So for her, Leo rules her 11th house of community and friendship. And the Leo full moon went, they are not her people. That is not her community. They are not her friends. And so underneath it all, I could see, I was like, okay, this makes sense. And this is a good thing. It's a redirection. But for me, I still sat with, why do I feel responsible? Why this is not okay? Holly, you did nothing wrong. And what lay underneath it was more. Just when you think you're healed, right? Just when you think you've done all the work, it spirals. More wounding around my inability to breastfeed. And still feeling guilty for that fucking 4 years later. Still harnessing like I let her down. Oh, and you can see it, like you can hear it. It's still there. And guys, you know me, you know I do so much work psychologically, spiritually, emotionally, and the breastfeeding piece has been such a wound. And obviously, my Chiron, or maybe not obviously, my Chiron's in Cancer. Cancer rules the breasts. I don't know if I've told you guys that, the breast and the stomach. So there's still wounding that I am holding around. And obviously, Cancer is the mother sign. So as all of my wounds being absolutely pressed on, and all I could do was cry and feel it and move it through. So that was all 2 Sundays ago. So I woke up on the Monday and I went, you know what? I'm still going to take her out in the hours that we were going to be at the bush school. And something that was going to be a stretch for me was me getting in the car with her and taking her out to the bush kindy. Because as you guys also know, another wound I have is my phobia, which is a metaphobia, which is phobia connected to vomiting. And the way that this plays out in my life at the moment is my daughter gets car sick. And so I don't drive long distances. So my wounds were wounding over this like 24-hour period. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to stretch myself. I'm still going to drive her somewhere because I want to take her out and we're not just going to sit at home and wallow in our misery. And I also want to stretch my capacity in driving her somewhere. And so beautiful Liv, who is my friend slash homeopath, was like, yep, come out to ours. We'll do a play date. And so they live about 25 minutes to half an hour from our place. And so that's a big drive for us, right? That's a big drive for me to do alone with her. But I was like, nah, we're going to pack her backpack and we're going to, it was all for her. I was doing it for her and for me, to expand my nervous system. I was like, no, I'm not at capacity here. I can do it. And so we drove out on the Monday and it was fine. It was good. I actually noticed on the drive, I didn't feel that kind of phobia charge that I usually get, which is like not in my stomach the entire drive, constantly hypervigilant, like feeling unsafe because, I'm kind of waiting for her to vomit. And this is the thing, like it's in the car that it plays out for me. And that's not safe when I'm driving and it's just me. So there's a few layers to this. Anyway, we got there safely. She had a great day. I was able to cry with Liv and speak things out around the breastfeeding connection and me being hard on myself. And we came to the conclusion that perhaps maybe this year the prep work for her with school isn't actually going to any kind of school environment. It's me and her being out in the world and doing a lot more things like driving further distances together. And maybe this was me, just an opportunity for me to get out of my own way. And so we had a couple of hours, got back in the car, drove home. It was fine. She was fine. I was fine. And I was like, what a win that was. Like that felt like I turned it all around come Monday afternoon. I was like, I'm killing it now. Like Leo full moon, I see you and I raise you. And so then I decided, okay, I'm going to do a couple more of these adventures, I call them for her because she's triple Sag. She loves an adventure. So I was going to do a couple more of these adventures through the week. So that was Monday. Then we get to Tuesday, and Tuesday is when I have our nanny here. This is why I'm recording this on a Tuesday while she's here. And last Tuesday, I'd actually booked myself in to have a free discovery call with a therapist. And I will just precursor, I can't answer any queries around who this therapist is, obviously, just for my own privacy. And maybe I'll share it later down the track. But right now, please just appreciate that I just don't want to be giving out those details willy-nilly right now. So the free discovery call is with a therapist that I connected with online that specializes in neurodivergence. And I've kind of touched on this in episodes. I haven't spoken in detail about it, but this has been something that I have been sitting with for not just recently, a couple of years, and saving up for, when the time felt right to actually have an autism assessment. And it's been a really interesting one for me too. Like I've always felt with certainty, yeah, there is something happening neurologically for me, which either you're going to listen to this and go, you may already be neurodivergent and have had your diagnosis and go, yep, Holly, I've seen it a mile off. Which, if you listen to the subscriber episode with Emma Mumford, she actually says that to me. She's like, yeah, when I interviewed you on my podcast, I did think, Holly seems autistic, but she hasn't said she is. So anyway, people will either get it or they absolutely won't get it because I would be what's considered high masking. And that makes sense, right? She's a Libra moon. And I actually do think that there is correlation between being a projector, having lots of Virgo in my chart, having a Libra moon. I think all of this has painted this neurodivergent chart for me. Obviously, high functioning. Contextually, I do have neurodivergence that runs in my family. And it's been something that as I said, I've sat with for years. Any person who's lived with me a long period of time, I'm talking relatives, I'm talking tranny, and I'm talking friends, have said, it's worth you doing this, Holly. Not one of them has said, what do you think? Why do you think that for? Every single one of them is like, this would be great for you. And so that's just contextually. I had the discovery call on Tuesday. And for me, it was just to ask questions around, I'm not looking for another label, but I am looking to understand myself more. I am looking to offer myself more compassion. I am looking for ways to regulate that perhaps are outside what's considered neurotypical ways of regulation, which I realize now my second book, Saying Yes to You, is very, very entrenched in neurotypical ways of regulation. However, neurodiversity, and this is all new to me, so please don't quote me verbatim, but what I learned in the discovery call is neurodiversity has if you are from a neurodiverse background, there's very unique ways to regulate your nervous system that actually aren't covered in neurotypical ways. And for me, if I'm wanting to have another child, which obviously I'm becoming more, and that hasn't gone anywhere, it still hasn't gone, I don't think it will go, but it's become more of a thing for me. I want to have a look at the correlation between undiagnosed neurodiversity and postpartum depression, birth trauma. And the therapist I'm seeing is also a therapist that specializes in birth trauma. So it was a good fit. She was great. And so I have booked in 2 weeks. I will be sitting my autism assessment. I think they also screen for ADHD. So I will let you guys know how that experience is. It's like a 3.5 hour thing. It's like a whole thing. And so that was on Tuesday, where it was only a short discovery call, but you can imagine how taxing that was for me. And it was like, it's a premium price point as well. So I outlaid a premium price point on Tuesday. I rang Trent and was like crying again. Like, I don't know if I'm doing the right thing. And he's like, you absolutely are. And Trent actually reflected back to me, he's like, hold, this will also help me too, to understand, when I have my, nervous system breaks, which I do, which I'm probably doing right now, how he can actually help me. So that was a big thing on Tuesday. Yeah. Wednesday, I decide we're going to go on another adventure. And this wasn't planned. It was like sorry, I'm just smoothing my teeth. She's so YouTube ready now. I hadn't planned that I was going to go on another car adventure, but I had seen the Two Broke Chicks reject shop whimsical haul. And I was like, I really, really, really want to go and look at it all. It's probably my special interest, let's be real. And I want to go stock up on some things. And so I asked my little girl, I was like, do you want to get in the car and go on an adventure? She's like, yeah. And so we went another 20-minute drive away. Again, easy as we stopped off and pulled into Trent's work on the way. He was so excited to get a site visit. And then we went and we had a girls' day and we did some shopping together because where I live, we don't really have a shopping centre, but 20 minutes down the road, there is a shopping centre. And so we went and did the shopping centre thing, which is like, we're such country bumpkins, right? It's like, oh my God, we went to the shopping centre. Meanwhile, I grew up on the Northern Beaches going to Warringah Mall every second day, different life. And my little girl had a great time. We stocked up on all my whimsical goods. $45 got me a shitload. I'll share it in the Solies chat. So good. And then we drove home and again, like amazing experience. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've gotten out of my own way. This is great. Now, what I hadn't actually clocked in my head was every time I was driving, even though I was feeling okay about it, I was still stretching my capacity. I was still like the Monday was a big stretch off the back of emotional upheaval. The Tuesday was emotional upheaval. The Wednesday was big stretch again. And so this is where I think I fucked up. Thursday comes around. And I've always wanted to take my little girl out to the Byron markets, which is again a bit maybe like a 25-minute drive. The Byron market's on a Thursday. It's a beautiful farmers market. It's, where lots of people get their fresh produce. There's beautiful flowers, lots of food, live music. And that's always felt like a bit of a stretch for me. And I was like, well, I've already done two. Let's make it the trifecta. And this is where I came undone. The high achiever in me overrode what my nervous system was feeling, what my emotional system needed, and I tripped a bloody switch. So we get in the car, we get into Byron. It actually all seems good. We're walking around the markets and she's not herself. She's wanting to go home. And that is not my little girl. As I said, triple sad. She's extroverted as they come. We are chalk and cheese. And so that was my first little mum spider senses going, she's not good, but let's just get her back in the car. That's fine. And I wanted to just break up the drive because we'd driven for so long. I didn't want to just be out of the car for 15 minutes, then get back in and do another long drive. But she was crying. And again, my little girl really doesn't really cry that much. And I said, what's wrong, babe? What's wrong? She's like, I just want to go home. Okay. And then as I start the drive home, I see her in the back seat. All of the colors drain from her face and she is about to vomit. Now, for those of you who don't have emetophobia, you don't might maybe not understand. You can hear it in me. Fuck, that's the nature of a phobia. It's nonsensical, right? But I am like so, it's still such a thing. Oh, it kills me. That was gross. Sorry. I am really proud of the way that she did not see me like this once. I pulled over calmly. I got her out. She was gagging at this point. Little spew, nothing major because I saved it in time. But then we couldn't get back in the car. So we went for a walk together and I said, it's fine, babe. We're just going to get some fresh air. We're going to go get you some water. We'll get you something to eat. So we walked to the grocer, got her some things. I said, what do you need right now? What's going to make you feel good? She said, I just want to go to a playground. It's like, okay. So we went to a playground and she had a play. And as she played, I sobbed in the bushes where she couldn't see me. I had my sunnies on and I was just like, how am I going to get home safely? Because when I get into this, and anyone with any level of anxiety or phobia or neurodivergence, like your brain exits the building because it's in survival. Even though it doesn't make sense to be in survival, I get it. It's just what happens. So I was like, I need to pull this together because I need to get her home safely. I need to get me home safely. It's just me. It's me against me. No one else is driving us home. And so that was actually the hardest part was getting back in the car to go home. And we got in the car and we got home safely and she was fine. She was totally fine. We sang Moana the whole drive home. And then we got home and I put her in front of a movie and I went upstairs and I fucking bawled my eyes out. And I just had to like close the door, take a minute. She did come in and go, Mummy, why are you sad? I'm like, oh, I'm just having having a release, babe. Mummy's been a bit overwhelmed. And that was my demise. From Thursday, I found it really difficult to pick myself up out of that. Everything became a trigger. Everything was hypervigilance overload. Oh, I forgot to mention, I also got my period on like the Tuesday. So it was day 3 on the Thursday, heavy bleeding. Like, what was I thinking? Why did I do this? Do we understand why I have not recorded the podcast until now? So Thursday comes and goes. This is also one of the busiest weeks Trent's had in work last week. So he was getting home at like 6:30 at night. He was leaving before we woke up. So I was very much alone. But then Friday comes around. Friday, yay, my work day, right? So Trent's with her and I'm in work. Oh my God, I'm laughing because you guys have no idea. It just goes from bad to worse. It is a comedy of errors. So I see my client on Friday morning. That was great. Loved it. I was in my flow. As I said, when I'm in this state personally, I love being in channel because there's like nothing getting in the way of channel because my brain has already exited the building. So I actually probably give my best readings when I'm like this. So gave a great reading. Then I also was pre-recording some additional astrology readings that I was doing. And so overall on Friday, I did 3 readings when I usually do 1. Oh, I also didn't say that I ran the heart space ceremony on Tuesday night and I had my private client that I see every fortnight. I had her on Monday night. So by Friday, I'd done 4 readings and a ceremony on top of everything else. And I had my period. Oh, Holes, you poor little thing. Why did you do this to yourself? So then my little girl had swimming. And I decided I wanted to go to her first class back because it was going to be her first lesson where she didn't need me or Trent in the pool. And she had the best time, and she's such a good little swimmer. And it was when she got out of the pool, she was gassed, like so exhausted. Like she went hard. I was so proud of her, but she just was like under, up, coughing water, doing all the things. And it wasn't until we were drying her off and she looked at me and she pointed to her mouth as if she had something in her mouth. And I thought, oh, okay, what has she got in her mouth? Maybe some water or like something she wants to spit out. So I put my hand out the front of her and she vomited into my hand. Oh my God. At least I can laugh now. I didn't even see it coming, so I couldn't even prep myself for being like it was graphic vom. And the teacher laughed. She's like, "Did she just spew in your hand?" I'm like, "Mm-hmm. Yep." And Trent was there too. He's like, "What is happening?" I'm like, "I don't know." But this whole week has been pushing me, pushing my wounds, pushing my phobia, pushing my fears, pushing my nervous system. How much more can you take, Holly? How much more can you take? I'll tell you what, there wasn't much more. So that then happened. I went home. I had planned to go and see Romeo and Juliet, Baz Luhrmann's version, 30th anniversary at Byron Theatre with some theatre friends, which was lovely. It was so great to just go out, have a meal, and then sit in darkness and watch beautiful art. And that definitely brought me some peace. It was the first time I was alone, even though I was with my friends. It was like, it was definitely something that brought me back into my body. But at the same time, I was out and I was extroverting. And so it was this like kind of like double-edged sword. Saturday rolls around. I have my client reading on Saturday morning. That's totally fine. Then little girl started her first ever dance class. Another drive into Byron. This time, though, I had Trenny with me. So he sat in the back with her, and I'm much more confident when he's there because I know he's got it under control. So we drove in and she thrived. And it was the first ever time, guys, that we left her with people who aren't like either our nanny or our family. And she was like pushing me out of the room. She was like, go, mummy, go. And I sat outside that dance studio and I cried. I pulled my eyes out again. She was so fine and was so proud of her. She like they opened the blinds in the last 10 minutes and you get to watch them. And she was just in her element. Like she just like slotted in like it was no thing. And so that made me feel like, okay, I've done the right thing, putting her in something like this, like getting us out of our comfort zones. She's socializing, she's learning a new skill. Like she was in it, she's asking, when do I go back to dance? When do I go back to dance? So that was a win. And then we had said that we would help out our friends by house sitting for them. They have a pool, they have a trampoline. So my little girl was going to have basically the trip of a lifetime, the weekend of a lifetime, a little staycay just down the road, pretty much. But when it came time to go on Saturday afternoon, I froze. I was like, I can't get back in the car and do this for like the sixth time. Like my actual nervous system was, I can't explain it other than like, I don't know. I just had no capacity, like no capacity left. Um, and so she ended up going in with Trenny in his work car, and I went on my own and I blasted Noah Khan. P.S. Have we listened to his new song? Oh my God, again, it made me cry. I blasted Noah Khan and I fucking bawled the whole way there. And again, berating myself about how, like, I'm such a bad mom and like, why can't I just get this together for her? And oh my God, I'm sorry. This is like all my shadow. It's like I'm so critical of myself. I know I've said this in the past, but I don't think I've ever really had the spotlight illuminated to me around how critical I am of myself when it comes to mothering. And mothers don't often get told they're good mums, right? And obviously, I need validation. So but self-validation, right? I don't need people to tell me I'm a good mum, like, because underneath it all, I know I am, and I'm the perfect mum for her because our children choose us exactly as we are, shadow and lack of perfection and all. But I really, really became aware strongly last week of how critical I am of myself in mothering. Why can't you just get it together, Holly? Like, not taking into consideration the fact that it's a phobia and I can't fucking help it. And I'm doing everything I can to fix it. Ugh. As I say that, I feel like the next thing I'm going to try is EMDR therapy. But I actually will also say I read this really interesting article that there's a very strong correlation between autistic people and emetophobia because vomit is multisensory and obviously the sensory system gets heavily activated if you are neurodivergent. This is going to be such an unattractive YouTube watch. I apologize. Blubbering messy, I just realized. Anyway, so that's very fascinating. But anyway, I've just not been compassionate to myself. I've not been kind to myself. This is why on Saturday I read Heart the Lover in 5 hours. Trent took my little girl in the pool and they played and he made dinner and I lay in bed and read and read and read. And I tell you what, guys, that book is stunning, stunning. Oh my, please go and read it. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Read it cover to cover in one sitting. Couldn't put it down. And yeah, that was just really, really beautiful. So I did that on Saturday. And then I woke up on Sunday and I was like, I feel like I have been hit by a semi trailer, physically inflamed, can't stop crying, not okay. And thankfully, I'd had the wherewithal to book myself 2 hours with Asha bodywork. So that's what I did on Sunday. I just walked into her space and burst into tears and said, God, I'm here. It's like, thank God you're here, but reverse. And she's like, oh, tell me what's going on. And I explained everything. And then we got on the massage bed and literally I just drifted in and out. And she just went hard. Like I still feel it. It's like my muscles are so inflamed and everything. As I said, my glands are up and I'm just a puffy mess at the moment. And I know it's energetic and I know it will shift, but yeah, it's just been everything. It's been the perfect storm. So that was Sunday. Thank F for that because she really did bring me back into my body. That's how it felt. I wasn't in my body anymore. Like I was just like floating in the abyss. And so when I got home from that, I was like, there's no way I'm recording the podcast. I can't. I would have just combusted. So that brings us to, yeah, Sunday. And then we came home from house sitting yesterday, which actually felt so nice to be in our own space. And the last couple of days, it has just been slow. no overriding. Oh, actually, I will say, you know how Asha is a reflector in human design? So as she works on you, she gets downloads for you. And what she said for me was whole, it's not actually end of the world. Because you know, when you're so in something, you're like, I'm gonna feel like this forever. Like there's no coming back from this. Like, what am I missing? That I was in a spiral. And the cards were all like dreams and like really optimistic and really beautiful and hope filled. And she's like, you just pushed it. What word did she use? She said, you just pushed it a whisker. It was just a whisker. And the whisker is what tipped you over. And then there was no coming back. And I know that the whisper for me was the Thursday drive. And there was no coming back. If we'd just stayed home Thursday, regrouped, and just had more chill time the Friday, Saturday, I feel like I actually wouldn't have spiraled as much. But this is sometimes what we have to do, right? To know where our capacity lives. It's the same with boundaries. Sometimes we don't know what our boundaries are or what our capacity is until we go over them and then go, oh, I need to retreat. At least for me as a 3-5 in human design, I need to experience it so I know. I know for me now, that was too much. That was way too much on my nervous system. And even though for some people doing drives like that isn't a big deal, for me it is. And I need to be more compassionate to myself. And I feel like that was the big lesson for me after last week is like, I've been so unfair to myself and not being gracious or patient with myself. And that is definitely not what I want to mirror to my little girl. And so this week I get to do it differently. So honestly, it's just been a heap of getting on top of laundry, cleaning. We went out and did groceries today. I ordered the veggie box. I got the fresh flowers in the home. I like, recording this. I'm going to get in the sauna after this, might go for a walk. We'll see how I feel, like not overdoing it, because that's the other part of me that's like, I should be at the gym. I should be like, it's the Virgo shadow in me being pressed again. And I know I've spoken about this a few times. And it's very, very hard for me to catch myself and go, no, Holly, like, don't overdo it. But that's kind of where I am, especially because next week is a really big week for me, guys. I've got some very exciting things happening. Can I tell you what they are? I'm going to tell you what they are. I've been invited to a spell lunch at a beautiful venue up here that I've always wanted to go to. It's a very exciting lunch. I can't tell you what it's about, but I feel very grateful to have been invited. I got to send off my outfit selects yesterday. So that's next Thursday. Then Friday, I have been invited to facilitate cacao at another incredible venue up here on behalf of Loco Love for 30 to 40 inverted commas Byron Bay influencers. So another big deal for me. Once I finish that ceremony next Friday, I'm getting on a plane and I'm flying down to Sydney. It will be a year since my best friend's baby girl passed away. And so I'm going down to be with her next weekend. So February is a really fucking awful month, to be honest. So shitty. I mean, good things, right? But like, there's just a lot of hard stuff too. Um, and so then I'll be in Sydney with her from the Saturday till the Tuesday. And so next week's huge. That's why this week I'm taking space where I can. That said, I have a retreat I'm facilitating cacao for tomorrow. I have my standard readings this week. I'm going to the theatre, Byron Theatre, on Thursday night to see a opening night of a show up here, which I'm very excited about. Prima facie. Oh my God, I'm saying it wrong. But anyway, if you know, you know. I'm very much looking forward to that. And then the weekend is a lot more spacious, which I'm just going to lean all the way into and not do too much of. And that's to say, like, guys, despite all of this emotional, like, can you see how it's been very, for me at least, like emotionally dense and like facing fear head on? So for me, Aquarius, which we're in Aquarian season, rules my eighth house, which is all of this. It's alchemy, it's the phoenix rising, it's facing fear head on, it's going to the depths of our subconscious to rise like the phoenix. And if you guys remember, I've got my North Node in Aquarius and my South Node's in Leo. So Aquarius season is also always a little bit challenging for me. But add to that the fact that there's going to be my nodal return in Aquarius this year. I honestly feel like this week was a little bit of a sneak preview for me, and I'm nervous. Because I will say, like, while all of that was going on, all of my Leo was activated. I jumped 200 followers from a reel that Dave shared. I've booked out pretty much March readings. I've only got two readings left. I've never booked out that far ahead in readings. 2 months in ahead, I'm booked out. Like I'd have no wait list. Like it's just, it is like almost April. So there have been wins. Like obviously the spell opportunity, Tree of Life were in my DMs again yesterday. Like there's good things happening, like really good things and expansive things. And this is a capacity chat again. It's like, how much of this can I hold without fully breaking at the seams? And so I'm being really deliberate this week around my foundational practices that allow me to call more of my dreams in. And they are all of my standard baseline things. And right now, this week for me is my physical health. Like, what am I doing to tend to my physical health and the inflammation in my body? Because if I'm inflamed, I'm not calling in more big life stuff. I wouldn't be able to hold it. So that's why after this, potty, what time are we at? Yep. I'm going to jump in the sauna. I might go for a walk. I'm going to do a medi. I'm going to rest. I'm going to hydrate. I'm just going to do all of those things so that I can fill myself up in this limited space I do have to do that. Yeah. And so that's a little reminder for all of us is if you are feeling stretched by the cosmos at the moment, which dare I say will be majority of us, and it's not going anywhere anytime soon, how can you put in place those foundational practices that at least bring you some solace and bring you into your body, even if it's just hydration, morning sun, and sleep? But on that, there is now a wait list available for my program I'm going to be launching in March, Dream Life Foundations. If you want to be first in the know to be part of this live program, guys, I haven't done a live intake since Psychic Studies launched like 2 or 3 years ago now. So this is going to be amazing. There's going to be so much juice. If you want to be first in the know as to what that looks like, there's going to be 5 live calls with me. There's going to be morning practices. There's going to be a Telegram group where we can all connect with each other. Then jump on that wait list in the show notes and you guys will be first in the know. I'll see if I can incentivize some of you somehow. The other thing I actually didn't mention that I had last week, see, so much happened. I had beautiful Ash start working with me. Oh, I hope it's okay. I name dropped. I won't say anything else about you. But I have my beautiful strategic, this is her title, strategic right hand woman. And so that has been so exciting, so expansive in my business. I keep emailing her, being like, oh my gosh, just eliminating these tabs in my brain has been such a win. So, for the subscribers of Soul Talk, thank you for your patience. For those of you who've put your hands up to have a 20-minute reading with me that will be aired as episodes to the show, you will be contacted from Ash any day now to lock in those times. Ash on behalf of me. It might be like the emails from me, and I did write it, but like Ash is pressing send. So look out for that if you're a subscriber to the show. And I will say that I have decided, based on the feedback of a listener who I really value, that the subscriber episodes are going to change, which Ash is helping me with in the background. But the episodes that are fly on the wall readings, you're all going to be able to watch them. You're all going to be able to listen to them. They're going to be bonus episodes, whether you are a subscriber or not. So get excited. They're going to start rolling out in March as well. This is what I mean. There's a lot of momentum and stuff happening behind the scenes, which feels really good. And at the moment, I need to tend to my inner world so I can hold everything that's happening on my outer world. And I hope I can be the example of that for you guys to show you that even when you look like you're winning and you are winning and things are amazing and things are so great, that doesn't mean that like you're not falling apart behind the scenes. Anyway, love this for us. Can't wait for the eclipse next week. God, that's going to be a doozy, isn't it? Watch this space. But I hope you're all looking after yourselves and your loved ones. Be kind to each other. And I want to share anything else about the vibe check? I feel like this sums it all up, guys. So thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for your grace with me. I will be back in your ears next Monday. And look, here's hoping that the only way is up. Bye, guys.